You are live with Get Connected. Mike Agerbo here with my good friend John Beeler. We got a pretty cool program today. We're going to be talking about robots later on, about robot vacuum cleaners and robot mops, specifically with the iRobot people. They make the popular Roomba vacuum cleaners. So we're going to find out what's new with that and can they clean your house as good as a regular vacuum? We'll get the lowdown. We'll also be talking about AI, artificial intelligence, when it comes to hiring. Getting a little bit scared about that, but more and more companies are using kind of automated processes to help them narrow down the candidates through different types of tests through the application process. Does it work? Well, we'll find out. We've got Caitlin Macgregor. She's the CEO and co-founder of Plum, a website and company that helps businesses find the right people. And we'll be talking about all the stuff happening in Congress this week down in the U.S. All the big tech leaders were called in front of Congress to talk about potential anti-competitive behavior in their different companies and industries. So we're talking about Amazon with Jeff Bezos, Tim Cook at Apple, Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook, Google, I forget who else. They're all there. Essentially, basically singing why they are great companies and not being anti-competitive. So we'll be talking about some of our favorite interchanges that happened during those hearings. Let's talk about some of the news this week. The big one for me, John, Consumer Electronics Show, the one we go to every year in January in Vegas. Like 170,000 nerds all show up there to see the latest gear and gadgets. Not happening this year. It's going fully digital. Surprised?
Not at all. We kind of saw this coming. We've seen a couple other big conferences and events that had a big, we're definitely on. Oh, now we're not on. At least not in person. And so it kind of wasn't a surprise. We were getting some emails a little while ago saying, hey, we're doing it in person. We hope you come. I think, like we talked about off air, basically, I think they didn't get enough vendors to commit this early on without knowing too many other things about what's going on in the state of Nevada and the U.S. in general, as far as, should we send employees there? Should we, buy a big booth again? That kind of thing. And how that would all work. Because like you said, there's like 170,000 people that typically would show up to this event. And even if a fraction of that showed up, there's still tons of infrastructure. There's tons of restaurants and hotels and all this other stuff that would, be crawling with people no matter what. And it just doesn't seem like a very safe place to be right now, at least.
No, too many nerds, too many tight spaces. I will be interested to see if it happens the following year with a lot of these conferences. If you own a Garmin tracking device, fitness tracker, you might be aware of this story. For those folks, late last week, they weren't able to access the Garmin website and cloud services. Typically these fitness trackers upload all your fitness activity to the cloud, so it's stored there safely. Well, apparently it wasn't safe because Garmin got hit by a ransomware attack, which I was actually quite surprised.
Mm-hmm. It's not often you hear of a big company like Garmin falling prey to these types of attacks. You think they would have, a very strong cybersecurity force behind them. And, when I first heard about this story, I was kind of like, okay, so that means I can't upload my steps. But when you think about what Garmin actually does, they're actually a pretty big leader in the navigation space, the GPS navigation space. And a lot of pilots were having problems as well, which, could have some pretty bad implications down the, if they're not able to get their flight data uploaded and get proper data downloaded, all that kind of stuff. So that's some pretty scary implications of, what would be typically thought of as a cyber attack, but it could potentially harm people if some of that information was wrong, for example.
Don't have many details on exactly who it was. They think it was this group of hackers called the Evil Corp. Sounds like some Austin Powers group that lives in a
Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot reference.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta pick that show up again. And they didn't say how much the ransomware was. So Garmin did come out and say it didn't affect user data as far as like their personal information or the Garmin Pay, because some of the fitness trackers you can use to pay for stuff at stores. But essentially, I guess they are coming up with a solution to get everything back online again. This was kind of an interesting one, John. Mac, the Mac operating system, OS 8 is now an app you can download and install on any Mac, Windows PC, or Linux. So you can run old Mac software.
Yeah. What's really kind of cool about this is it's free, but it's written in JavaScript.
And so why is that interesting?
Well, it's a fairly accessible language that's typically used for writing things like websites, and for it to be this complex and robust and being written in JavaScript is very impressive. I mean, yeah, it is emulating a Mac from like 1991, so it's not a super powerful computer, and I'm not quite sure. I haven't tried installing this yet myself, how robust this emulation actually is, or if it's just dog slow. But it's kind of fun, and it has a bunch of games built into it, and apps. So you can try like Photoshop 3, Illustrator 5, and there's even Apple's own web page construction kit included, which could be kind of fun to build a 1991 era website.
Well, this is kind of cool because this guy was also his name is Felix Reisberg. He made an app to run Windows 95.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's kind of crazy.
I don't know if you want to do that, but who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, these are free from what I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I'm kind of, we were also talking about like, well, what are the copyright implications of some of this old stuff too? And I thought it was kind of neat that this particular Macintosh one includes a Macworld disk from like, back in the day. So it's got a bunch of demos for a bunch of stuff that, you probably haven't seen for decades.
Exactly. Well, we're going to have to take a break. I just want to throw to our contest really quickly. We're giving away a Samsung A71 smartphone. This thing is all kinds of awesome. If you want a chance to win, go to our website, getconnectedmedia.com, hit the newsletter tab, and subscribe to win, and you'll be entered into all the contests this year. When we come back from the break, artificial intelligence in hiring employees. Is it a good route to go? We'll find out. Back after this. You are back with Get Connected. Mike Macgregor here with John Beeler. Still lots to talk about on today's program. We're going to be talking with the robot people, the iRobot people, about some cool new robot vacuums and robot mopping devices. Some really neat stuff. Right now, though, we want to talk about getting hired. It's kind of a crazy time right now with COVID-19 and the lockdown in many areas. A lot of folks are looking for work. A lot of companies are looking for employees as well during these changing times. We've got an interesting guest here online. We've got Caitlin Macgregor. She's the CEO and co-founder at Plum. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to get you on the program because you've got this really unique kind of process or program that helps, employers connect with employees, in some cases using artificial intelligence. Can you kind of give us the Reader's Digest version of that, and then we'll kind of dive into some of the meatier parts?
Yeah, so we're actually taking best practices from industrial organizational psychology, and we're automating them with technology to help us assess at scale people's innate talents, like their ability to innovate, communicate, work well on teams. At the end of the day, we're able to quantify what drives people and allows them to excel and, really be at the top of their game, and what drains them ultimately leads to burnout and them coming home or being at home at the end of the day saying, that they're really not feeling fulfilled. And so we're able to quantify those innate parts of who somebody is, what makes them human, and then match them to the behavioral needs of a job. So even if somebody has no prior experience, we can predict whether or not they would thrive in that position if they were given the opportunity.
And so how do you do that? Is it like a test? Do you have to go to a website? There's obviously two parts. You got to figure out what the company or the employer needs and maybe their culture and what have you. But also then, yes, you got to determine what the employees are all about or potentially.
Yeah. So the first step is that individual. It's a 25-minute assessment. Now, I think we would all love it to be a magic button and the internet just knows exactly who we are, but there's no passive way of catching this this information, we have to actively assess it. And we're assessing for people's problem-solving ability, how they prioritize their personality, and looking at social intelligence. So how do they people problem solve? And that combined gives us a profile. People can take it for free right off of our website, plum.io, and get their own report in terms of what are their top talents. And then if they are an employee at a company where they're looking at internal opportunities, they would go even deeper and get a full professional development report that would give them all 10 of their talents in order of priority and development suggestions. So that's on the individual side to understand who they are. And then on the employer side, we basically have an 8-minute survey, and it acts like, we all know KPIs, key performance indicators. You wouldn't use KPIs from a competitor. You wouldn't use KPIs from 5 years ago. You want the manager to set what are the goals for the person to achieve. Well, we're understanding the behavioral needs of the job. Through this 8-minute survey, we curate the opinion from job experts, and they narrow down which KBIs, key behavioral indicators, are needed for somebody to succeed. Do you need them, persuading people? Do you need them to work well on a team? Do you need them to come up with out-of-the-box ideas or to pay attention to detail? And it's asked more in behavioral type questions to get at the essence of what are the priorities for the job, and then we match people to jobs. This is a 99 match, that's a 82 match, that's a 55 match, and it's all based on how well their behaviors and their innate talents match the job.
How does the artificial intelligence factor into all of that?
Yeah, so really we're using artificial intelligence in a quite loose meaning in that we have automated and scaled what in the past you would have an industrial organizational psychologist do manually. So with the technology and the algorithms of the matching, we're speeding that up to a way that no human could do, and so we're really using it to automate and scale the process. And in that respect, it's artificial intelligence in that it's speeding up the humans. Now, another interpretation of artificial intelligence is getting into the nitty-gritty of things like natural language processing or machine learning. We're not doing that because the way that machine learning works is that it learns based on past data, and it simply is a machine that replicates past. It's a pattern matching machine. And the problem with that is that just because somebody was able to sell, they could be a salesperson selling phone books, that may predict that they can sell phone books at company A and B, but if that person now needs to sell cybersecurity, that pattern recognition isn't going to be an accurate reflection of the transferability of them. You really need to not rely on those past patterns that are often, incorrect in terms of measuring performance, and you need to get into the industrial organizational psychology. So we go on that side of it more.
I've been reading, there's companies out there like yours and big companies that have their own internal systems that do these testings. Some people are learning how to game the system when they're taking the tests or sending in their resumes. As you can imagine, like, a large company like Apple must get, hundreds, if not thousands of applications. They're inserting all the right keywords and stuff into the cover letters or trying to say the right things in the test. Like, how do you overcome that?
Yeah, so when you're looking at a machine learning system that's just picking up on keywords, it really is how many keywords can you jam into your resume. I literally was looking into a company last night where I uploaded my resume, and then it's like pick, and it's a self-assessment in that, like, pick what you think you are. And the first time I went through, I was a 84 match for CEO jobs. And then I'm like, oh, well, I have all these keywords as well. And by the time I populated 99 keywords, well, all of a sudden I was an 82 match. And it was just by selecting keywords. We're completely against that kind of system. What we're looking at is prioritizing where you are spending your time and energy on things that are a bit more universal than I know how to use Illustrator, or I'm proficient in Excel. I'm looking at things like when you have to decide between, 10 different tasks that are thrown at you and you only have 2 hours to get them done, which ones are you naturally gravitating towards, and which one in an ideal world would you delegate to somebody else? So I'll use myself, for example. If I have to choose between going out for beers with people as a team building activity at 5 o'clock on a Thursday night, or I have to follow up with a client to, help send the sales presentation that I gave them to help them see that there's this totally different future they weren't even thinking about, if I think of what fills me up and energizes me, it's convincing that client that there's this new reality they never thought about, and it's not going out for beers to spend more time with teamwork. And if I have to pick between the two, I'll stay in and keep doing that work. And so we put people in these situations where, do you respect authority? Do you always finish what you start? Do you make friends easily? Which ones are most like you and least like you, as well as some cognitive pieces that get at the heart of how people prioritize their time and what energizes them.
So beer or doing the work for the client, that's a tough choice.
And I would pick it is such a win when you can change somebody's mind. My top talents are persuasion, decision-making, and adaptability. So, I thrive in new challenges and new opportunities to convince people, whereas it is draining on me to prioritize team-building activities. Obviously, it's important and it's great, but I'll do those once a month instead of, hitting the water cooler on Zoom every single day.
So, for companies that use your system, and just quickly before I forget, where can people go to take that test?
Yeah, it's plum.io, and they can take it free and get their profile and learn about their top 3 talents, and they can share that online.
And so quickly, for companies that are using your system, it's not just for hiring new people. They can continue to use it in their company.
Exactly. One of the biggest things that we've seen, and I think COVID's a good example of that, is companies have made pledges. They're not going to fire anybody. But if all of a sudden your salespeople are sitting idle because sales have paused, then where can you repurpose them? We have a person in our company named Laura. She's a perfect example. She was an underwriter at an insurance company for 6 years. And even though she was a top performing underwriter, she was burnt out and she was really looking for a career change. And she joined our tech company as a customer success manager, and now, almost 3 years later, she's one of our top product managers. There's no software other than Plum that would tell you that an underwriter would be an amazing product manager. And let's face it, every insurance company is becoming a tech company. So it's, she knows the product, she knows the company values, she knows what they need to automate, but on paper, she had no product management experience. So we're able to provide that data for companies to help them with internal mobility and career pathing, but also reorgs and workforce planning, as well as development. So that professional development of, what does Laura need to work on or feels like she would want to work on so that things are less draining and more energizing for her, but also understanding team dynamics and how people would work together, or where are your most adaptable people or most innovative people, so that as you spin up a new part of your company, you know how to redeploy people into those roles.
We're talking with Caitlin Macgregor. She's a CEO and co-founder at Plum. The address again?
Plum.io. Plum.io.
That's easy to remember. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Stick around. We'll be chatting with the robot people about the latest robot vacuums, maybe ones in your future, and the big tech leaders were hauled in front of Congress this week. We'll give you the lowdown on what happened there as well. You're listening to Get Connected here on the Chorus Radio Network. Back after this. You're back with Get Connected. Mike Agarbo here with John Beeler. Well, Congress brought forward some of the big tech leaders to talk about competition in the tech space this week. A lot of funny exchanges happening. So we had Amazon's Jeff Bezos, Apple's CEO Tim Cook. We also had the Google CEO, Facebook as well. Some interesting responses to the question. Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook said that he had intense competition. So he had big competition from Apple's iMessage, for example, also apps like TikTok and YouTube as well. Apple's Tim Cook basically said, this was interesting, they're not dominant in any market. Our goal is the best, not the most. And it basically said they don't have a dominant share in any market or in any product category where they do business.
Do you believe that?
No, I can see that. I guess the one area that some critics have complained about is Apple's App Store rules and how there are no other app stores on the Apple platform. So everyone has to basically go by their rules or they can't play in the sandbox.
Yeah, but I always struggle with this line of, anti-competitive nature, because it's Apple's store. They've decided that this is how they want to do it. You go into a restaurant and they have a sign on the door saying no shirt, no shoes, no service. That's their rules, right? Like, you can choose to go there or you can choose not to. And so this is the thing I always struggle with. I think it's kind of silly, and a developer doesn't have to develop on Apple if they don't want to. But if they want to, they have to pay the ferry person.
Pay the piper. I mean, there is competition in essence, really, because if they just hated the rules that Apple has, they could go over to the Google Android platform. I think Google's policies and rules are probably very similar on the Google Play Store, but on the Android platform, there are also other app stores as well.
Right, but those other app stores don't necessarily have the same weight or accessibility that, say, the Google store would have, because the average person, unless they're a tech nerd like us, they're not going to know about an alternate store. It's going to be a challenge for them to install that.
Exactly. Any other favorite exchanges with the GOP and some of the tech guys?
Well, every time the tech people get brought before anybody in the US, it seems, any politician, they use it as a personal tech support genius bar. Like, how often do you get to actually ask the head of Google, I'm having problems with my dad's Gmail? Like, what a wasted opportunity.
Was he joking?
No, he was actually mad because his father,
oh my God,
his father, it wasn't getting his congressional emails about the election. And props to Google CEO Sundar Pichai, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, I apologize. He was basically, very calm and very collected about how he responded to him, and basically told him it's probably either in your spam folder or in one of these other tabs. And but the congressman from Florida, of course, Greg Straub, he basically seemed pretty incredulous that his dad's email would be problematic and that Google couldn't fix it. It's just like,
oh dear God,
what does that have to do with anti-competitive stuff, right? Like,
nothing, absolutely nothing. What a waste of time.
Yeah.
What a waste of time.
And we saw this before, though. I remember Tim Cook being there for something, and one of the congressmen asked him to help fix his iPhone. And just like,
no, not the time.
No.
Not the time. Okay, we're going to have to take another break. So we've still got some more stuff to talk about, and we'll go through our contest as well. We're giving away a great Samsung smartphone this week. Listen to Get Connected here on the Chorus Radio Network. Back after this. You are back with Get Connected. Mike Agerbo here with John Beeler. Let's talk robots. For the past several years, I've been using robot vacuum cleaners in my house, specifically ones from the iRobot folks. Well, they've got some new gear, and we wanted to chat about it and to see if this is the next level in vacuum automation. We've got Brent Hild on the line. He's a senior product manager over at iRobot. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So, like I said, I've been using some of your robots in my house for a few years now, and I think they're fantastic. I get a lot of people questioning me, are these robot vacuums kind of there yet? Are they just as good as regular vacuums? And I have to say yes. I've got two small dogs, and whenever they do their rounds around the house, the amount of hair they pick up, I could make a new dog out of it. So, I mean, I can see it really works. So wanted to talk about some of the new stuff you have today. One that I was really interested in, I believe it was your S9 Plus model. And so this is kind of looks like your regular Roomba model, but it's also got a big canister at the docking station for it to, I guess, dump all the stuff it picks up.
Yeah, so the Roomba S9 is actually our flagship product. So we just introduced that about this time last year. And it's really designed to clean a whole of your home with great detailed performance. One thing you will know if you're actually familiar with a Roomba, our traditional Roombas are actually circular in shape, but the Roomba S9 kind of deviated from that a little bit and actually has a square front. And the reason we did that is we changed the shape to accommodate what we call the perfect edge cleaning system. And this perfect edge cleaning system is not only incredible at cleaning kind of an interior of a space, but really where it shines is as it cleans along walls and deep in the corner. We added we kind of did an overhaul, I guess, of the cleaning system, and you'll notice a lot of different components with it if you took a look at it. One is we have a newly redesigned corner brush. So we have a corner brush that's in the upper right-hand corner of the robot that really kind of pushes into corners and gets the dirt and debris that accumulate there. The multi-surface rubber brushes, which were traditionally kind of more in the center of our Roomba, we've actually moved it all the way to the front so we can get it as close to the areas we want to clean. And then we have a considerably more powerful vacuum motor. So it's 40x the suction of our 600 series. So it's a very powerful vacuum in it.
Sorry, 40 times more.
40 times more. Yeah, so significantly more. And you hear it as well, right? So it has that nice powerful roar as it goes through and cleans throughout your home.
What's the battery life on that thing?
So it really is dependent on the type of home you have, the size of the home, and what your mix is of carpets, rugs, and hard floor. But in kind of the standard quiet clean mode, it'll be over 2 hours of runtime. But traditionally, we actually don't see that being an issue because we have what we call imprint smart maps. And so this Roomba is actually intelligent enough to map your whole home. And with just a little bit of context, you'll actually have a floor plan of your house, and you can label things like, this is my kitchen, this is my living room. And what we see people doing, especially people that seem to be working from home during this COVID crisis, is you'll see people will just say, hey, Roomba, go clean the living room or go clean the kitchen. And so you'll just do a couple rooms at a time. But it can also, of course, do the whole house and everything in one shot.
That's the thing I love about the Roombas. One of the models I have maps the house out as well, and it's so cool to be able to actually tie it in with my my voice assistant and tell Alexa, hey, get the vacuum to do the front hall. You don't want it to do the whole thing. Maybe you got company coming over and there's a bit of dirt in the front hall. It can just do that one spot, which is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. It's a wonderful technology, and it's great if you have kids because you can never have the whole home all cleaned in one spot because they're always making a mess. They're always in one place or another. So when they leave the bedroom in the morning, I send it in to clean that space. So it's a real convenience factor as far as that's concerned.
The big plus for me, though, is the canister. So this docking station, it's got the charger, obviously. So when the little robot needs some more juice, it goes back there. But it can also then go back there to empty its load, essentially. It gets sucked up into this canister.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the really nice features is we call it the clean base automatic dirt disposal. And so actually inside that is a powerful vacuum motor in addition to what we call an allergen lock bag. And so normally if you run a mission, you would actually have to, at the end of it, go in and clean out the bin manually. But with this, you don't have to. It goes back, docks, and it'll automatically evacuate, even if it's in the middle of a cleaning job. And all of that's stored and heavily compacted inside that bag. The really nice thing about the bag is it'll hold up to 60 days of debris, and it actually acts as a filter. So all of the pollen and mold, dust mites that it picks up off the floor, it actually traps and contains that inside the bag of the dirt disposal.
What kind of consumables then are we looking at on this particular model? Obviously, you got to replace the bags every couple months. On the vacuum itself, what else would you have to replace after time?
Over time, you'll eventually have to, parts will just wear out over time. So you'll have to replace the corner brush maybe once to twice a year. The main brush, you may have to, that's the large dual rollers at the front of the robot. You may have to replace that maybe once a year. And then there's a really high efficiency filter inside the robot. And depending on how much you run it, you may have to replace that a couple times a year as well.
So we're talking with the iRobot folks. We got Brent Hild on the line. That was the S9 Plus model. I also had a chance, that's obviously the flagship one, but you've got a whole line of them. I also got a chance to try out the E5. That's kind of the middle of the road.
E5 is more of an entry-level product. And it's really designed, it's a great product designed with smaller spaces in mind. So if you have an apartment, it's great for that. We know that a lot of pet lovers love the Roomba E5, again, because we have that multi-surface rubber brush technology in there, and it's great at picking up pet hair. So if you have lots of pets, lots of pet hair, this is a godsend for you. And we also have an incredible filtration system for the E5 that captures 99% of mold, pollen, dust mite, but also like dog and cat allergens as well.
What I liked about that particular one as well, it didn't have the big canister back at the base, but you basically take out the little basket out of the robot and you get alerts when it's full. So, you don't have to guess. And you just dump that into the garbage. And the nice thing too is you can actually wash that little basket under the tap as well.
Yep, that's absolutely right. When you're done with the cleaning mission, you empty it out, you take off the filter, and then you can just rinse it out very quickly, let it dry, put the filter back in, and you're ready to go.
It's funny, I've got a few of these. They've lasted for years. I haven't had any problems. John, Steven on our team, he says he's had 6 of these robots. And
love to hear that.
And I don't know how this works. He says he's got a couple of them that do the outside for him as well. I know they're probably not designed for that whatsoever, but it's just a testament to how strong these little guys are.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Steven just loves his Roombas, and he actually buys broken ones and fixes them. So
does he?
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic. You'd be surprised. We have customers that call in that have like some of the original Roombas, like the ones, we've been in this business for, developing Roomba. I think 2002 was when we first introduced the Roomba, and we have people that still have Roombas from back then. And of course, we don't really have the parts for those anymore because that's quite some time ago. But every now and then you'll get someone who calls in and they just have this emotional attachment to the robot. And so you'll see engineers, product managers, we'll be like going through stockpiles. It's like, well, do we have this? Maybe we can find a replacement part or whatever.
Kind of like Apollo 13, you're like trying to assemble this thing right together again. Let's talk about your mops. And I was pretty excited about a new mop in, I believe it's your Brava line. So the vacuums obviously are vacuums, but the Brava line actually can mop your hardwood and laminate floors and tile floors.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the S9 Plus, we also launched the BravaJet M6, and really this is a robotic mopper that's designed to mop, or it can dry sweep as well, your entire home up to 1,000 square feet. It comes with both wet mopping pads and dry sweeping pads for impressive cleaning on all hard surfaces. Just like with the S9 though, it also has a smart map, so you can create these smart maps and you say you want to just mop the kitchen, it knows where the kitchen is and it can go mop there as well. I think one of the features that I love about it the most, besides it's just how well it cleans, and taking the fact away from me that I actually hate to mop, so this is a really nice robot to have, is that you can actually link it. We call this imprint link with a Roomba. So if you have a Roomba and a BravaJet M6, you can kind of get that perfect clean. And so what you can do is you set it up and S9 will go out and vacuum the floors, and then when it's done, it actually talks to the BravaJet M6 and says, hey, I'm done cleaning, you can actually go mop. And then the M6 will go out and mop, and then if you were away for the day and you come back, your house is not only vacuumed, it's also mopped as well.
I didn't know they had that link feature. That is pretty awesome. Does that work with most Roombas, or which Roombas would that work with?
Yep, it works with most of our newer Roombas. So it works with the 900 series. It does work with the E5, the i7, the S9.
Very cool. No, I've for a couple of years now, I've been using that little BravaJet. It's kind of like a small little one. I've got teenagers. They love it because they've got their own bathroom, and they just, put the water in that thing and they just let it run through there to clean the whole thing. So I was pretty excited. This new one is actually a decent size that could actually do a large area of floor.
Yeah, the BravaJet 240 was the predecessor to the BravaJet M6. When we launched it, it was really designed to be a small robot that does like a single space. But we had such positive reactions from our customers, and along with that also came great feedback. Said, hey, we love this. Can you make it do more, clean better, do a larger space? And so we took that to heart, and that's kind of how we started the development of the BravaJet M6.
Brent, you're like the senior product manager. Like, what kind of future things are coming down the pipe?
I would love to tell you about all of our future projects because there are some really incredible things. Unfortunately, a lot of it's confidential, so I can't share it. But I will say, I think one of the neat things, there's really kind of 4 areas when we look at our Roomba and Brava product line that we kind of improve upon. And so as we consider future models, generally what you'll see improvements in cleaning efficacy, navigation technology, hands-free cleaning features like self-emptying, obviously you talked about the clean base, and then just voice commands and Wi-Fi connectivity. The one thing I think I really want to stress is the fact that we're constantly innovating and improving Roomba with what we call over-the-air updates. So development at iRobot doesn't really stop when a product is released. We pass along new digital innovations over the life of the product. So essentially the Roomba you buy today will be even better years from now as it approaches its ends of life.
We're talking with Brent Hild. He is the Senior Product Manager over at iRobot, the folks that make the Brava robotic mops and the Roombas. I want to thank you for joining us, Brent.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
When we come back from the break, more tech to talk here on Get Connected. Stay tuned. You're back with Get Connected. Mike and John here. Just want to throw to the contest one more time. We are giving away some great prizes this month, including a Samsung A71 smartphone. This thing is all kinds of cool, runs the Android operating system. And if you want a chance to win this phone, all you need to do is hit our website, getconnectedmedia.com. On our newsletter tab, if you subscribe to our newsletter, our e-newsletter, not only will you get some great tech news once a week, you will also be entered into the Get Connected contest, which we are literally giving away thousands of dollars of prizes this year. So it's a fantastic opportunity to try to win some cool gear. This phone is pretty cool, John. I think it's worth close to $500. So it's a great prize. Fantastic screen on it and super fast as well. And the camera is amazing on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, again,
and it's free.
And it's free if you win. GetConnectedMedia.com. Don't forget to tune in to our sister show every Sunday. You can also check it out on our website, GetConnectedMedia.com. The App Show. Tomorrow we'll be talking about 5G and how everyone has to get along to make sure that all of this technology works together. We'll be talking with the folks at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. They've got a special secret lab where they make that all happen. It's like super fascinating. We'll also be chatting about Amazon Alexa. Whether you love it or hate it, it's getting smarter. They're using even more artificial intelligence to get the stuff done that you need done when you talk to it. That's all the time we have left. I want to thank the team that helped put the show together. We'll see you again next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube page. And you know that little bell icon? Hit that and you'll be notified every time we post a new video. And comment. The more comments and the more likes and subscriptions we get, the more videos we can make.